That's why I started the party Ashe. Ashe means divine power, blessing, and energy. What I learned was that has that music has that energy to do that to me. I can help heal others. That was the purpose of that party.
That party was amazing. Amazing. So today is Saturday, December 26, 2020. Who are we
Mm.
speaking with?
Well, my name is Kat Ayala, and thank you for having me, Muma.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for getting to do this. Now, you were not born Kat Ayala. What was your birth name?
You want my government now?
Well, you were born
Well,
Catherine Smith, right?
right. I was born. How do you know that? Yeah, I was born Catherine Smith. Such a common name, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you think about it,
Uh-huh.
it's a very common name, Catherine Smith. My mom actually named me after the actress Catherine Hepburn.
Wow.
That's how my mom. And my mom's Puerto Rican. My father's African American. He was African American. So it was like that West Side Story kind of thing
Uh-huh.
back in the 60s.
Yes.
So I don't know how I got Catherine Smith. You know what I mean? Kind of strange if you think about it, right?
Now,
Puerto
talk to
Rican.
us about where did you grow up?
Born and raised in Upper Manhattan from the day I was born. Born and raised. Yep. Frederick Douglass Housing Projects.
Where is that?
103rd in Columbus Avenue on the
Uh,
west side of Manhattan. Yeah. Right
and
across the street from Victor Rosado, too, you know.
really?
Victor and I were raised in the same projects right across the street from each other. And I've known Victor Rosado since we were in junior high school.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And we are still friends to today. Still friends to today. Isn't that cool?
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it. How did you get into club music or house music? Where did it all begin?
Club music. Well, I got into music due to my family background. Um, my mom and dad, they love salsa dancing. I have an uncle, may he rest in peace, passed away a couple of years ago, named Eddie Colon. And Eddie Colon was actually a Latin promoter back in the days where Tito Rodriguez, Tito Puente, Eddie Palmieri, Hector Lavoe, Celia Cruz. I remember actually he knew all of them when I was a little girl. Yep. So my family music background came from the Latin side of my family. That's how I started, loving music. Um, I would watch my uncle promote as a little girl. We will always be at Orchard Beach, and Ernie used to play the music near the handball courts. And my mother and my father, they would be like, they were bad. Okay. They were really bad.
What is Orchard Beach for those that don't know?
Well, it's a beach in the Bronx where all the Puerto Ricans and African Americans used to hang, and they still do. And they still do, you know. So, you know, being raised in that area, well, going out there and seeing the elders really get down in salsa music, you know, that's where I come from, the salsa part. I don't call house music house. I call it dance music. I don't Music to me is music. Whatever makes you move, whatever makes your body, do anything that it's feeling. It's an expression. It's an art expression. So to call, that's why I always say I'm not really a house head. I'm a world music lover because I love all kinds of music, you
Mm.
know. And it's important to teach everybody all kinds of music, not just one genre. I don't, I'm not good with that. Then I come from the home of David Mancuso, so that'll tell you a lot, you know.
What is a Starship Enterprise?
The Starship Enterprise, 42nd Street, down in, if I'm not mistaken, 10th or 11th Avenue. It was my first disco club, and it had 3 floors, a booming sound system. Don't ask me who did the sound system. Don't ask me who was the DJ because we weren't into that at the time. We were just basically into, here I am. Let me see, how old was I? 14. I was 14 going to a disco. We were doing, I know we were sneaky little kids back then, it was easy to get identification, and I used to hang out with a group of girls, right? That I used to be involved with Uptown YMCA. And we had a baseball team called the Uptown Angels. And all of us on a Saturday night, we would be like, well, let's go to the club. And we would all get together. And I have a younger sister. And would you believe I used to drag my younger sister with me to the club?
Wow.
We would dress her up. I and while my mother, we would sneak out. While my mother, we were back. It was different back then. It was
Ab-
different. Don't judge me, okay?
Exactly.
It
Exactly.
was it was out. It was very different back then. For whatever reason, we were able to go into clubs at a very early age, very early. So maybe I wasn't 14, but let's put it maybe 16. It could be about 16, and my sister was 14, something like that.
Mhm.
Okay. So, there we were into the hustle, and it was like disco era, and we would be in my mom's house. My mom's house was the hangout house, all the kids. We will all go to my house. My brother used to play music, I got a picture. I'll share it with you. He used to play music. We used to always go to the record shops, buy vinyl, and Lloyd would play. And we would be in my mom's house hustling, me and all my friends, so we love sports and we love the music. And that's where my pastime went, through music and sports, So that was cool though, Starship Enterprise, beautiful club, beautiful sound system. And it actually had a rocket ship and everything. Like, it was beautiful. The light, there was light that was coming like in thunder and lightning bolts and stuff like that. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful club. I saw Sister Sledge there. I remember seeing Sister Sledge
Wow.
perform. Yeah, yeah. But they closed down the Starship because I guess, I understand there was a lot of drugs, you know, at that time. And I believe that's one of the reasons why they closed it down. Not quite sure. But that was my first discotheque, you know, other than the salsa clubs that my uncle promoted, because he used to do Bumacao, Casablanca. He used to do those clubs, and I was able to go, being that my uncle was the promoter, you know, I was able to go to those clubs. I would sit down, and just watch the bands while the bands used to play. I would sit there, and that was like the Latin side. And then once I discovered disco, it was like, see ya, ma, you know what? That's your thing. I'm gonna have my own thing, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
And then tell us about Ones.
Once the 111 Hudson Street. You know what I remember about that club? The floor. They had a lidded dance floor. Yeah, the dance floor would light up.
Wow.
That's what I remember about that. But it was a small little space from what I recall. It wasn't like this huge club. I don't remember it being a huge club. But from what I heard, I'm not sure. Donnie Crivet used to play there.
Oh,
At,
wow.
if I'm not mistaken, at the time that I went. But again, we didn't focus on names of DJs. That wasn't happening. We just like somebody would say, "Oh, there's a nice club over here," and we would just go check out the club, and they would play music, and we would dance. It was as simple as that. It's not like now where everybody is like kind of focused on a certain DJ. Like the DJ became the artist, so to speak. Back then, it was just only about the music, from what I read. That's how I looked at it, you know, because it wasn't a big deal. Like, long as the person played good music, that's the club you're gonna hang out at, you know. That's the club. Yeah. So it went from Starship to the ones. What else did I go to? I did check out Studio 54.
What is Studio 54?
Uh, Studio 54 was it was promoted by a gentleman named, oh my god, escapes my mind. It escapes my mind. I forgot his name. May he rest in peace. Well, anyway, he had this really off the hook party. And we were so excited to be able to get into Studio 54 because Studio 54 was basically for the rich, the famous. You got me? And this promoter, what was his name? Muma, help me out. Mike
Uh,
Stone. Mike Stone.
got it.
It was his party. And he, and let me tell you, we loved that party. That party, me and the girls used to go. Just imagine a club built inside of, I believe it was a theater, a movie theater or some type of theater. So on the second floor, they had the seating that would overlook the actual dance floor. Then they had this ramp that you would go on the ramp and the ramp would travel across the dance floor and back. So you got the lights going on, you got the smoke. From what I understand, Kenny Carpenter was the DJ. Didn't know it then, but I found out later on, you
Mhm,
know, who these guys were.
mhm.
And oh my God, the sound system in there, amazing, amazing sound system. My when I think of Studio 54, I think of Chaka Khan, right? Clouds. And he used to play that song, and you could hear the thunder coming, boom, boom, crashing like it's gonna rain, and then like confetti would come down from the sky. I mean, it was amazing. Clubs back then, you can't touch those clubs compared to what we have now. You know, I back in those days, like they really focused on entertaining the dancers that were there because it wasn't about it was the DJ, the sound, the dancers. You got the lights, you got the sound effects, the sound system, completely different, completely different. And I think that's why, if you ask me, Um, that's what made me fall in love, like real in love with music, because of it was exciting. You know, you go out now, I don't know, it's not this to me, it's not the same. Once you experience that level of going out and partying at a club, you know. But next question, because I could ramble, you know.
What is the Loft?
The Loft is my home. That 99 Prince Street. Oh, yeah. I'm a 99 Prince Streeter. And I'm proud to say that I am. I'll tell you why. The Loft didn't have those crashing sound systems, a lot of lighting, a lot. I don't know. It was more of a social gathering. And dancers that were completely different than me going to a discotheque. When I was invited to the Loft, I've been a Loft member since 1979. That's when I first went to the Loft, and it was a friend of mine's. His name was Willow, and he used to DJ at this other club, which was only down the block from the Loft, and he had a membership. So he was like, "Oh, you know, me and my girlfriend Mimi was my best friend. We used to roommate together." And he invited us. Oh, you know, I want you guys to check out this spot. Come to my party, and then we'll go from there. So that's what we did. And when we went into the Loft, I was like this, like, what the hell did he bring me to? Like, it was completely different than anything else that I had experienced. So you go in, you go down these steps, I believe, and you ended up at, you know, in a space, in a loft space. Wood floors, they had somebody, you know, you had to have a membership like you all know, you know, and or you had to know someone to bring you in. So, you know, Willow brought us in that night, and nobody was dressed. It was like, this is strange, you know. For us, it was strange because going to a disco, you got dressed, you know. You put your little heels on and, you know, your dress or whatever, you know, you were dressed up. This place was the complete opposite. I mean, people wore t-shirts. I remember one woman, she didn't wear nothing at all. She came running through the space one time, butt naked. Hand to God. I know, I don't tell lies. I swear, I'll never forget. There was some crazy shit going on in that loft. But ooh, excuse me. Anyway, yeah, so you go and there was guys, there was a lot more guys that I noticed on the first floor that danced. It wasn't the hustle. I don't know what they called it. They today they call it loft dancing. To us, loft dancing, I don't know. I don't know the difference because everybody had their own style in dancing. They had say certain things like they would go hit the deck and a guy would jump up in the air and comes down real smooth. And I mean, the body movements were just like so incredible. And I found myself wanting to watch more than, oh, let me go dance somewhere. I watched. I watched and I was like, man, these guys are off the hook. My favorite dancer out of all of them. Have you ever heard Willie Dancer? You
Yeah.
ever heard of Willie Dancer? That
Nice.
was my dance partner.
Wow.
He ended up being my dance partner because Willie, oh my God, that man, he remind me of Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly. You know, the way he moved, like he's still off the hook. He sent me a video just last week, right, of him dancing at the post office. He- I love him. I love him. And mind you, we're in our 60s now. So for him to be able to dance that smooth is, to me, is incredible, after all those years. But Willie Dancer, there was Stacy James. One of my roommates, his name is Freedom. He was a really good dancer, man. He rest in peace. I met my friend Steve Shaw there. I've met so many people in that loft. Here we are 40 years, 40 plus years later. We're still friends. Now, is that not special? When you can go to an establishment and and dance with these people every Saturday and become family. You know, you don't see that anymore. It's very rare.
Yeah.
You don't see that
Mhm.
because I could go to a club and everybody's like, oh, I love you. No, 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 no. You establish this connection through dance and for us being young, 18 years old, I was 18 when I went, 18 going on 19, yeah, because I went 79. I was born in 60. And, you know, today I'm still friends with these people. Friends. Where, you contact each other, make sure everybody's good. How's your family? Some of us had kids at that time. Our kids met each other. They would have parties every now and then. I brought my little son. My son is 38 now. My son remembers going to the Loft on 3rd Street.
Wow.
He remembers it. Playing with the balloons, you know. He said, yeah, I remember. He could tell you about it today. That's how long, that's how something like that is so meaningful when you can bring your kid at the age of 4 or 5 years old to a party and they remember it today. Obviously, something was very special there. You know, David was special. You know,
Who was a resident DJ at the Loft?
there was no resident DJ. There's a man named David Mancuso that does not say he is a DJ. He never considered himself a DJ. He played music. That's it. He played music. And he educated us musically. At the time, we didn't look at it like that, right? Because he would put on music like Come On Down Boogie People. You ever heard of that one? David Williams, Come On Down Boogie People. I Am Love, one of my favorite tracks by the Jackson Five. It's a ballad, and then it hits rock and roll. But so it's like you hear a beautiful ballad coming in, and you see the Loft dancers like, they they would feel the music. And you see the way they dance is like they go to the music. And it wasn't a competition, never a competition. It was like this one would do this and that one would do that. There was this guy named Billy. We used to call him Billy Who. He would wear a hat and tip his hat and do tricks with his hat while getting down dancing. You know, before I didn't play the tambourine at the Loft until later on, I think 3rd Street. But I always danced with my hands. There's just something about using my hands while I dance. I taught myself sign language when I was younger, right? So, yeah. So I taught myself sign language so that I can dance and sign the songs.
Wow.
Yeah, because that was like, oh yeah, if I could sign this song like Don Ray, the leaves were falling down, the sky was crying, and I would do all these. So one day, this is a true story. Um, to me, I call him Uncle David. His name is David Feldman. He was part of the Loft, the original Loft on Broadway. And he approached me and he would clap throughout the Loft. And he would just go clapping throughout the Loft, right? So he approaches me one day and he goes, I love the way you dance. And I go, wow, really? And I said, oh, thank you. I'm very humbled. And he goes, I have a gift for you. And I go, really? So he takes out these white gloves and he gives me the white gloves. And he says, I want you to put these white gloves on. And I want you to dance with these white gloves because you dance with your hands. And I go, okay, cool. Honey, didn't I start this shit at the Lord? I was up there. Oh, oh, oh. Josie ended up with this other guy. I mean, there was a lot of all of a sudden you see white gloves all over the it was amazing. Yeah. I started dancing with white gloves before I danced with a tambourine. And I think what happened was um I had met somebody and she played tambourine and I was like, oh, that's not such a nice instrument. And then there was a Minerva that went to the Loft. She played a tambourine and she was always like going to the beat. I was like, that's a pretty cool instrument. I'm gonna get me a tambourine. And lo and behold, I am, there was more than just playing that instrument while I danced. Something happened where I just, it's a spiritual thing. You know what I mean? It's about the love of music, man. You know?
Now, you also uh, kept going to the loft when you were pregnant too.
How you know that?
I know a lot
Where
of
you
things.
get this information?
I know a lot of things. I know a lot of things.
Wow. How did you know that?
Talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Well, I danced till I was 8 months pregnant at the Loft, 99 Prince Street, on the first floor with the guys. Because I always danced on the first floor. I was one of those people that once I felt comfortable and I liked the energy, because to me that's what it's about when you go out dancing. To me, it's all about the energy, the music and energy that you get. Because it's not about just I've never been into how do you call it? Going out to pick up a guy. You know what I'm saying? I never would I've never, that wasn't my thing. I've been with my husband since 79. Me and my husband been married since we've been together since 79 and got married in the early 80s, in
Wow.
the mid 80s. So that's how long I've been with my husband, Ayala. He used to go to Loft. But I know my husband lived in the next building from where my mother. We were born and raised in the same area. So, but he used to go to Loft. He wasn't really a dancer. He was more like a juke. I used to goof him. And you just go to GQ, he was very handsome kind of guy. I was like, man, I'll see you in the morning. One of those. I would be downstairs dancing, Willie, Pacheco, other guys would be downstairs. My boy James, my boy Flame, which is, yeah, yeah, which is ill right now. So, Fast Mike, all of them. So it's kind of, touching, reminiscing.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't. I'm a wimp.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. Talk to
Yes.
us about the Loft. There was no alcohol.
They didn't need no alcohol in that place. You know what? I'm sure you heard the stories about the punch. That
Yes.
those
Hmm.
stories were true,
Hmm.
very true. Um, then you had outside, when people were coming, entering the building, there was always people that had,
Stuff.
certain
Stuff.
drugs.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so
And there was also fruit.
yeah, David served uh, a big bowl of water, ice water, a big bowl of punch. Then he would, in the morning, you might be able to get coffee. The fruit bowls were always stocked. He this was his home, and these were his guests. Even though I think we paid like 9.99, got the penny back and everything, you know, and you would dance from 12 a.m. We would go like 12 a.m. Sometimes we wouldn't even get out of there till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That he would have to kick us out. It was home. It felt like your second home. You know, and it's so important. Because who does that? Today. We were part of something very special, and at the time we were just a bunch of kids. Who knows what? Everybody goes through something in their family life, right? And I think music was an escape for a lot of us, where you just like you discovered music and you discovered family and you discovered, friends. And it wasn't, it took it got to me. It got to me. I would say I wanted to do something more along that line later on, in my life. You know, I've always been into music. So later on, like in my 30s, I had stopped going to the loft because the Third Street loft for me, it wasn't the same. Um, some people, they started their their experience at Third Street. I started at 99. So when I went to Third Street, it was the neighborhood was really bad. Crack was out. You had crackheads walking around that area like it was scary. And me and my girlfriends, we were young and we were like, oh no, we're not going back around that area. For us, it was more important to take care of yourself. We didn't want to get robbed. It was bad. It was bad. So, and at the time, none of us had cars. So it's not like if you could drive, we would get on that train and, from uptown Manhattan and, get off and, here we are and it was bad. Real bad. Real bad. So I think he lost a lot of people because of it, like us, that part. Yeah. So we just moved forward. We also went to the garage,
What is
right?
what is the Paradise Garage?
Well, that was Larry's home, Larry Levant's home, and it was inside of a garage. And how did I get? Oh, Willie Dancer actually invited me there. That's how I got to the garage. Willie Dancer. It was like, oh, you got to check this place out on a Friday because we were like, Saturday, nah, I ain't having it. So we went to Garage on Fridays. There was also another club. You ever heard of Melons?
Mm-mm.
Melons. Melons was on Irving Place. Melons was inside of a building where we used to take the elevator up. True, I saw Grace Jones fall off a stage at Melons. No.
What happened? What happened? Tell us that story,
Mama, do you really want me to tell you?
please.
She was performing, and me and my girlfriend Mimi, I'll never forget it. You know, we were indulging in things, right? And we're watching her, and I don't know what she might have had, but she was performing, and then all of a sudden, she ended up in front of us. I swear. You're laughing. Yo, me and my girlfriend, we were crying. We were crying because we were laughing so hard. Because we were nice, and we never expected, oh shit, Grace Jones. Yeah, yeah. So I don't know what she was on, but it was one of those experiences like you don't forget.
So what was Melons? It was a club, an
Yeah,
urban place.
Melons was a club in on Irving Place. We took the elevator up, beautiful sound system. Um, I'm not sure who played there. I know at one time, a friend of mine's Jay Stewart. Jay Stewart was a DJ back in the late 70s, 80s. Um, and he was into roller skating. And he would have roller skate parties at Melons. Yeah, during the week. So, and you might have know Jay from the Central Park roller skating
Exactly.
area.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
That's Jay Stewart, a friend of mine from back then.
Wow.
Yeah, he used to have parties there, roller skating parties. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but Melons was nice. They used to have live entertainment. That's another thing we don't, that's what I love about Louis Vega because Louis be bringing the live entertainment. That's what I love about Louis. They don't do that no more.
Mm-mm.
And that back then, that's the way it was. The artists that made these tracks that did the vocals, they were they were the stars. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we would be, you know, wow, we saw this one, we saw that one, we saw this. So, but it's so funny, right? And I'm gonna go because, hey, I keep it real.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we were talking about Paradise Garage, right? And Louis asked me to do this thing about the garage, and he asked me what was my favorite, um, one of my favorite performance that I saw in the garage, and I said Prince, and I personally remember Prince at the garage. So I'm on the phone with Joey Llanos, which me and Joey are like cats and dog brother and sisters, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my boy. I love me some Joey, right? And he said, "Girl, Prince never performed at the garage." And I'm saying, "Yes, he did. I saw Prince perform at the garage."
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "I'm telling you, Cat, you're wrong. I remember, I said, wait a minute. I remember Prince performing at the garage. Like it was one of those situations where I said, then he made me think because he worked at the garage. He's like, but if he's telling me he didn't perform, and I had asked Victor, and I was like, Prince, you remember when Prince performed at the garage? And he said, yeah. I don't know why. Some of us remember, some of us don't. But it was hilarious because me and Joey would debate, and I'm like, but Joey, I remember. I don't know why. Could it have been at Melons? Who knows?
Mm.
Where you just you go to so many different clubs back then,
Yeah.
and there were so many live entertainers performing. Who knows? Maybe Prince didn't do Paradise Garage. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, he was at the damn garage. Okay. So I came out and I told Joey, you weren't there that night. Okay.
Love it. I love it. Be-
Uh,
Besides Prince, what's your most vivid memory of the garage?
um, just the sound and the people. It was like a sea of people. To me, I really liked it because it taught me about the gay community also. You know,
What did it teach you?
that everybody's just the same, you know? Like why? I don't know. It just opened me up to just loving people for who they are. That's it. You know, I don't, I'm black and Puerto Rican. So I went through a lot in my childhood. I got bullied. I got called all kinds of names. My mother's light skinned Puerto Rican, my father's black. So just imagine what I went through in the 60s. You half breed, you name it, they called it. You're mud, you were left on in the front. You were adopted, because back then mixed nationalities wasn't cool at all. I remember my own grandparents, my mother's side, the Puerto Rican side. I go through my mom's photo album, right? And when I was older, and I look and I go, this is interesting. Like it just dawned on me, right? I go, where's your family? Your family are not in any of these pictures. Your wedding pictures. Only your daddy's family is in these pictures. What happened? Like, so look at that. That's a perfect example of people being prejudiced. And being that I was a product of a black and a Latin getting together in the 60s, I had to go through it. So going to the garage kind of like lifted that, stigma that it's okay to be different. It's okay. You know, everybody, as long as people treat each other with respect, that's all I care about. Once you disrespect, then I just like, choo, I'm one of those people, like, I'll give you my heart. But once you cross me in any way, that's the Libra side of me, where I'm kind of like one of those, and I'll give you a chance or two, but three strike you out, boom, it's like, see ya, you know, and that's because of what I went through as, growing up and seeing people treat me, my brother, my sister differently, because we come from two nationalities. But the garage, it was like, I don't know, it just opened me up to a whole different, because even in the loft, it was gay. It was, mostly gay, but it wasn't, I don't know, I didn't see that at the loft. The garage, it was more guy to the guy dancing, type of thing, where I was like, oh shit, check this out. Hey, they ain't bother me none, and there's a picture out there, and I'm gonna share it with you because there's this old picture out there of a crowd of people. And I was looking at that picture and I was like, let me see if I see myself somewhere. I found myself in this picture with
Wow.
my girlfriend Mimi. With my girlfriend Mimi. Yeah.
You have to send that to me.
Yeah. I was like, you know how you expand the picture and you're like, that looks like me. I remember my little flip haircut, right? Because I had one of those.
Uh-huh.
Like Farrah Fawcett, try to look black girl Farrah Fawcett. yeah, I was there. But yeah, but it did, the clubs did teach you how to be social with different people, you know, not just your own kind. And love, the music was banging. The music was banging, I gotta say. That's the way it went through your body. You know what I mean? Like you felt that bass, like, and we were like, one of those. You would go crazy. Those were the days. Yeah,
So let's fast forward. So you went from being an attendee, and then the time I met you, you were doing the Seaport music series cruises. I think
that's
that's what I
how we
first
met.
met. That's what
Really?
that's the first time I met you.
Ah,
Now tell people about um, the transition from being a fan to being a promoter, and tell people about that cruise series, because those were amazing, by the way.
thanks, thanks. You know what's so interesting, Muma? There's a lot. I got into the entertainment business way before the seaport.
Oh, let's talk about that. I didn't know
Wait,
about that.
a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. Um, I got into the entertainment business in the 90s, right?
Okay.
Early 90s. At the time, I was a bridal consultant because I, love, the weddings and things like that. So I worked for a company called Reception Plus, which was in the Bronx. And I did basically, I started out telemarketing. I went from telemarketing to engraving because people love the way I write. And from engraving, I ended up selling wedding gowns. So what happened was I got into selling the wedding gowns. And when you're selling wedding gowns, you get in, you start hooking up with a lot of brides and bridesmaids that are looking for. Are you ready for this? I'm gonna knock you. You ain't gonna believe this one. Ready? They're looking for exotic dancers.
Really?
Really? So what happened was I was like, they were like, oh, do you know? And I go, no. Just happened that my mom and her friends and my sister had just came from a male review. And they were like, and I was like one of those, I was married, I had my son already. I wasn't doing any of that, right? So when this happened, they were like, oh, you got to come with us the next time. So, and then here's the bride asking me for a dancer. So I go with my mom and my sister and their friends, right, to a male review.
Where was it?
Somewhere downtown in Manhattan, I don't know, right? But it was an all black male review. So I was like, real, oh my God, look at this, one of those. Oh my God. And my mother's over here, yeah, like, they're hanging. My mother was a trip. She was having a good old time. And I'm like, one of those. Something went like this. Ding! After the show, there was this light skinned brother. He was cut by the name of Easy E. And he came up and said, hey, nice to meet you. I go, let me ask you, do you have a business card? I come out and he comes out and he says, oh, sure. So he gives me his business card. I said, my name is Kathy. They used to call me Kathy, before Kat. And I work for a I'm a wedding consulting. I sell gowns and I might be in need of your services. He says, oh, yeah, give me a call. Honey, I ended up from Easy E, I end up with like 10 to 15 exotic dancers in all nationalities.
Wow. Wow.
I went from doing the bookings, right? I would book the bridal parties. I had a portfolio. I would go, I was like, I would meet with the bride. I go, here's my portfolio. I had headshots, I had body shots. Yo, talk about a business. I was Madam Ayala.
And I bet you were making bank off of that.
No, no, no. Then I decided, I was like, yo, we're gonna have to do something more than this. These bridal stores. I would charge, I swear to God, I would charge at the time $150 for a half an hour service.
Wow.
$150. I would get 50%
Wow.
for a
Wow.
phone call. For a phone call. For the girl to come to my house, she could look at my portfolio and say, this is the one I got. I got you, girl. And I would make a phone call. Yo, I need you for da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's how I would do my bookings.
Wow.
So $75 every booking, guarantee. Then the guys would get the 50% plus all tips.
Right.
Yo, you know how many guys wanted to work for me? They were like, what? All tips? Yep, you got it, baby. You get the tips. I get your 50%. And we got, and that's how I did it. So I started, it was called, and this is funny, MAW. Ready? Men at work.
This is so good.
Men.
Oh shit. Okay.
I ain't making this shit up, bro.
This is so good. This is so
Yo,
good. This is
what
so
is
good.
yo? I'm telling you, this is how I started my entertainment business, and then I also had a company called Cat Sent Me. That's probably when you came with the
Yes.
Cat Sent Me, was
Yes.
what I was using for that, for the boats, right? But from the bookings, I was like, yo, I got this in the bag now. I started production work. I would rent out, check this out. I told you I lived uptown, right? So the club nearby me was on 96th Street in Broadway. It was a Latin club called Broadway 96. I would pack this club at least 300 women on a Thursday night. Women on a Thursday night. I had about 10 girls working with me. Those 10 girls sold 20 tickets, right? They were selling advance tickets. They were selling, I had police officers in there. I had doctors, nurses. I had all working women. And I would give the parties on civil service days, pay days, every 2 weeks. Money, money. So by the time I would finish the product, I mean, I had guys coming to me. I wasn't even have to look for them no more. They would come, we'll work for you for free. All they wanted to do was dance a 15-minute segment because in 15 minutes, these women would give so much money. You know why? Because I discovered when I went on to a male review, it was always rushing from work to the review. I would never have time to get change. So I would go to the bank and get $300 to $500 in single dollar bills. Bring it to the club. I would have my girls give out change before the show. Girls, you got change? $20? Boom, boom, boom. Because I want to look out for my guys, right? So all the tables. Matter of fact, I'm gonna lend you. I'm gonna see if I make a copy of one of my men at work. I got it on video.
Oh, please do. Please do.
I got it on video. I want to see how I'm gonna be able to make a copy, and so you gotta
Oh,
see this.
please do. Yeah.
You gotta see this. It's amazing, amazing the amount of money I used to pull through.
What would you
It,
make on a Thursday night?
I would come home with about 4,000.
What? Cash.
My husband, right? In the beginning, you know how that goes, right? You know, come on, let's be real. Let's be real. My husband in the beginning, he wasn't like, "What are you doing? Are you, you know?" I says, "Look, I'm making money. Okay, this is a good way of making money. You know, we have a family to feed."
Oh, this is so good.
Ah,
So good. So good.
I know you didn't expect this for your conversation, huh?
This is so good. This is so good. This is
Yeah,
so
so Mama, let me tell you, you know who used to, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna crack up. So I had a DJ, actually, oh, he's off the hook. His name is Johnny. What's Johnny's last name? I forgot his name. Last, we're still friends. We're actually still friends. He used to DJ for me, and what I would do is, being that I was so into music, I would ask the guys, okay, what kind of costumes you got? I would actually work with the guys and their music so that I knew that this is going to be a show, but it wasn't going to be a nasty show. It was done with class. Because to me, when I used to go to the other productions, sometimes they used to get a little, ugh, you know, and I'm more of a artsy, creative type mind. And I go, I know what women want. You guys don't know. I know. I would actually, when in the beginning, I used to scout with my girlfriends. I go, yo, there's a show over here. I want y'all. I would take pads and the girls would rate the dancers. You write the dancer you like. What do you like about them? What do you this? I would get all that information so that I know, okay, this woman doesn't like this because he did that. We're not having this shit. So I would make sure that, certain things were done with class because, come on, I'm a female that is running an exotic dance business here. You
Mhm.
have to have a reputation. You know what I mean? You don't want nobody. So anyway, first show I came back with, I came home with so much money. My husband's like, "Oh, so how did you do?" And I took that freaking money, right? I threw it up in the air on the bed and I go, "This is what I did tonight."
What
Yeah.
did he what did he say then?
He was shocked. He was shocked. He was like, "Oh shit, really?" And I was like, "Yo, I'm telling you, I got this idea and it's gonna work. And we're gonna have more of these suckers. We're gonna definitely have them. So I did Men at Work for about 4 years,
Mhm.
5 years before I moved up to the Poconos. Um, but guess who else I worked with? You ever heard of Vanessa Del Rio?
Yeah, of course. Who hasn't?
Yeah, she used to hire my dancers. She
Really?
used to have a party. Yeah. She used to have a party down at the Vote. It was called the Vote. You know that 14th Street, how 14th Street has that building that's like how do you
Triangle.
call it? Yeah, like the triangle.
Yeah.
The club was actually in that building.
Okay.
Inside that building, they had uh a S&M club. And I used to, she was a friend of mine's, Johnny. He said, "Kat, I want you to check out this spot, and I think you can benefit from it." And I was like, "Really? What kind of spot?" He goes, "It's a little different." And I go, "Yeah, yeah." And so, I was like open. I was like, shit. And when he told me Vanessa Del Rio was the host, I go, "No way." I said, "Bet." So I told my husband, I was like, "Yo, I'm going with Johnny to this space tonight." I had told him, I said, "You're never gonna guess who host the place. And when I told him Vanessa Del Rio, he said, "Hey, you're so full of shit," right? He told me, "You're so full of shit. If you want to go out, just go out, cat," right? One of those, because my husband, he's very open, he's like, whatever. So yeah, so I was able to meet. She was the most sweetest person. I had bought, I said, because I had a line of Men at Work T-shirts with strippers on it, with my logo and the whole 9 yards. And I bought the the T-shirt with the logo, and it was airbrushed with the Puerto Rican flag on it, because I had just finished. I had just finished doing the Puerto Rican Day Parade with
Mm.
my dancers. So
Wow. Do you have photos of that?
you know what? I have a couple.
This
Yeah,
so much history. This is so good. Oh my God,
yeah.
so good.
So, and mind you, this is before house music.
Right, right, exactly.
That's why people don't really know me. They think they know me, but they don't know me. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, so we did Vanessa for a while. We did, and it was yo, that shit was crazy. You ain't gonna put this one on, right?
Wow.
Oh, yeah, it was crazy. It
Wow.
was, yeah, I was shocked. Because I never had experienced anything like that. So it was so funny because I was like, oh my God. And she had it on a cable TV thing too. They were filming.
Oh wow. Wow.
It was called The Vote. That
Hmm.
was the name of the club.
Hmm.
Let me think. I wonder and you know who else was there? Cosmela Cosmetic. You ever heard of that name?
Mm-mm.
I think she played in Paris is Burning. It was a
Okay.
transvestite.
Mm.
Yeah. And yeah, it was very interesting. It was like more like S&M bondage and stuff like that. And I was shocked. I was like, that's okay. I can, I could supply the dancers, all you got to do. So she says, I loved your dancers. I go, oh, great. I'm glad you were happy about the dancers because I took two dances the next time I went down. She goes, here's my number. I said, okay. We exchanged business cards. She took the t-shirt. I asked her to sign it for my husband because he didn't want to believe me,
Hmm.
right? And she goes, oh my God, I love that t-shirt. I go, oh, you can have it.
Wow.
I gave it. I ended up giving her the t-shirt. Yeah. I was like, shoot, Vanessa gonna wear one of my t-shirts? Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Men at Work. Men at Work was very, very a lot. And people would tell me, you gotta do it again, you gotta do it again. But it's hard, you know why? Because they don't have that many male exotic dance places nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That lifestyle went, and it's sad because let me tell you, it was a good money maker.
Hmm.
It was. So I was working, okay, I was doing that. We went to Renegades.
What's that? What's Renegade?
Renegades, Joey Llanos had a club called Renegades after the Paradise Garage. Him and another partner of his. And I had met Joey through a mutual friend. I didn't remember Joey from the garage. I don't, we weren't friends back then. I met Joey. He was playing Sound Factory Bar as a guest, I guess. And then we made friends. And then he would invite me to all the places that, he would guest spot. So we went to Renegades and I started helping. He found out what I did, right? So Joey was like, yo, you want to do promotions for my party? You know? And I was like, well, I can invite people because I never looked at myself as a promoter.
Hmm.
Remember, I was telling, I don't, it's more deeper than that. To me, I was into special events, right? You got, you know, Men at Work. I had, Vanessa's place. I had when I met with Joey, let me see, what was I doing? I did Cat Sent Me. Cat Sent Me was a talent travel and special events type business.
Mhm.
So I would do 2 night cruises to nowhere, get people together. We would go 2 night cruises and party and do that. That was way before the Circle Line or Seaport House Music Cruise. So Joey had invited me somewhere, and I don't know how that idea came about. Um, we're talking about the seaport, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I like the way Joey played. We hit it off as friends. John Davis had a party called Legends.
Mhm.
I'll never forget it. John Davis had a party called Legends. I went after Legends. There was a McDonald's around there. I went to get something. I ran into Ariel. I didn't know Ariel for a can of paint. He was at the party. And I was like, oh, you were just there, it was a nice party. I don't know how the conversation came about, but I wanted to look into, I was staying in my mom's house and I wanted to look in, the next day I was looking into the Circle Line because I wanted to have a house music boat ride. So that's how that idea came. And I called the Circle Line and this guy answers, right? And he says, oh, I said, he goes, oh, I said, I want to find out some more information about your cruise. How does it go? I would like to have a party. And he goes, what kind of music? And I said, house music. So he started laughing, right? And I go, what are you laughing? He goes, that's the kind of music I'm into. I go, really? And he comes out and he says, are you the girl with the white tambourine? So you know who that ended up being, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Luke Gobert.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I was already in my business doing what I was doing. And Gobert was working for the Circle Line. I believe he was promoting Destiny at the time. He
Yeah.
wasn't DJing.
I
He
remember that
wasn't DJing.
Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yeah. He was not DJing. And we started talking and we noticed how like, oh really? You went to the Loft? Oh sure. I don't remember him from the Loft. I don't remember him from the garage. I never met Luke Gobert in my life. Who is this guy talking to me? It was kind of weird because how would you know? So most likely, I mentioned to Ariel the day of the restaurant that I was gonna look into, doing a house music boat ride, just or just chatting. He was friends with Lou. He must have called Lou and told him, "Oh man, there was this girl. You know that girl with the white tambourine." I think that's how that went, how that story kind of lined up.
Mhm.
And so at the time, Body and Soul was going on. I was always in Body and Soul because Joey took me there.
What is Body and Soul?
Body and Soul was the party that took me out of depression.
Explain that.
Ah, that's another one. Um, Body and Soul. I wasn't. I had taken. I was retired from the dance floor,
Oh,
and what happened was I had moved after men at work. My husband moved me to Poconos. We ended up buying a house up here because things were getting really bad in the city. We had 2 children, and we just wanted a different lifestyle. And so I had stopped men at work, and I came up here to kind of settle down and do what I got to do. I got after a while. I felt that it wasn't for me. You know, when you just, I, I left a good job. I was a administrative secretary for accounting firm. I left my business, man. I was making money. Then I came up to the Poconos, and it was shell shock for me because we were looking at we need to get out of the city to give our children a better lifestyle. The Bronx, we lived in the South Bronx. We wanted my sister lived out here. We saw, we ended up buying a little house. So what happened was I got depressed.
Where in the South Bronx did you live?
I lived before I moved up here, Longwood and Beck Street. You know
And then
where that is?
yeah, I know exactly where it is. And then you moved from there to the Poconos.
Right. Then I moved to the Poconos from there. So I lived in Longwood and Beck, and we came out here. I was making money. So when I came out here, I was looking for work, and I was like, I waited for my kids to go to school, and then I said, okay, gotta go to work. And I started looking, and oh my God, the income compared to what I was used to was like so depressing. So I went through a spiral where here I am, I have a better home, fresh air, my kids are going into school. What about Cat now? I had such an exciting life in the city. I don't have that no more. What am I gonna do? So I got to a point. I did find a job in Mount Airy Lodge. I worked for Mount Airy Lodge, the original. I was yeah, I was a bookkeeper. I do accounting.
Tell
So I
people
worked
tell people what Mount Airy Lodge is.
um Mount Airy. Remember growing up, you look at the commercials and you see the beautiful Mount Airy Lodge. And you're all, oh yeah, when I get married, I'm gonna go over there. Oh my God, the place was a dump, right? it was a dump, okay? When I got there, I was like, this is Mount Airy Lodge. But I needed a job, so I worked in the sports palace. That's where the accounting office was. I worked with the actual owners in the same office with the owners because I was doing accounting work for them. And something happened where they were gonna go bankrupt. This is really crazy. This is a crazy story. So they got the bank and the no. I go to work, driving down, go to the work, and I see all these police cars, like sheriff cars, around the building where the owner lived. And I was like, what the hell happened? That morning, they were supposed to sign over the hotel. Now, these people built this Mount Airy Lodge from ground up. They came from Holland. They they did what they did. It was a family business. So they were gonna go bankrupt. So the owner, the uncle, I'm like, what's going on? They found out, they said that he committed suicide. So my crazy ass was like getting something else. I was like, he committed suicide? You sure? Or did somebody kill him? Like, I don't know. My spirit was telling me something complete. I don't know what it was. But to be honest with you, I kind of lost it because I was petrified of something. Something was telling me I was receiving other signs. So what happened was the bank ended up taking over Mount Airy Lodge. There was this gentleman that was working there. He had fire red hair, green eyes. He looked like a devil. I don't know. There was just something about him. And he kept on coming around. And I was like, oh my God. I started getting paranoid. They're going to kill the bookkeeper. I'm the one with them. Remember that story? Remember that story on that old movie?
No, I don't know. I don't know the story.
The story about the bookkeeper, how was it Elliot? Um, what was
Oh,
the
it's a movie.
It was a movie about the gangsters,
Okay.
and then they were gonna kill the bookkeeper. They were gonna kill.
Mm.
And I was getting this crazy thought in my head, and I started like actually getting anxiety. So I always keep it real with people. People don't know you, and they never know what you've been through. But I am an anxiety sufferer. I get anxiety. I used to get panic attack and depression. Bad. So what happened was I had to leave that job. I went on disability. I sued them because they were harassing me. They were following me. They being that I'm so outspoken, they thought that I was starting up a union. And in Pennsylvania, that wasn't having. They weren't going for that. This is a Commonwealth state. So I really got bad, and I was scared to death. I stood in my home, and I was like, oh no, no, no. Lo and behold, Joey Llanos calls me, and he goes, yo, where the hell you been? I go, they got me in the Bogonos, right? And I'm crying. I hate it here. I gotta get out of here. He goes, Kat, I know what you need. And I go, what do I need? He goes, you need music. You need to get the fuck out of the sticks and come down. We're doing a party, the first Larry Levan birthday celebration after he passed at Body and Soul. That's where, at Vinyls. That's the first Body and Soul party. Isn't that something? So what happened was I went, I called a couple of friends from New York, come, they're gonna do a plastic party. I call my girlfriends from Love Garage, meet me here. We're gonna. So Body and Soul kind of saved my life. Well, Joey Llanos too. That's why I love we fight like again. We're like cats and dogs in a lot of ways, but that's my brother because he understood I was in a dark place, and the medicine, my medicine is music. That's my medicine, personal medicine. And I started going to Body and Soul. I would drive down the mountain every Sunday. It don't matter the weather. I would go in snowstorms. I went in a snowstorm once and almost couldn't get back home. I got stuck. Yeah. I swear, my son was with me. My son. And it was snowing. It was his birthday, and I go, I'm gonna take you to Body and Soul for your birthday. And my mother said, you better get your ass back home. It's gonna snow. There's gonna be a snowstorm. I said, it'll be all right. I go into Body and Soul. Me and Ralphie were hanging out. We come back out. Yo, my car was covered. And I was like, oh my God, we gotta get out of here. I took the Lincoln to go back up to PA and got lost. and got That's how crazy I was. I used to drive down every Sunday to get that, to feed, that music. It helped. It helped. And there was a lot of things that happened there. Um, I was always a spiritual person, always spiritual, but I was never religious.
Mm.
Like I was born and raised in the Catholic religion. I did my communion, my confirmation, I got married in white with black panties. No. You got a lot of cutting to do, you know that, right? so I would drive down every Sunday. Every Sunday I
Des-
would need that.
Describe Body and Soul for those that haven't experienced it. You talked about what the party is, but What does it feel like? What does Body and Soul feel like?
To me, I don't know about anybody else. To me, it was a spiritual experience. I don't know about anybody else. But at Body and Soul, my spirits started. I don't know how to explain it. When Joe would play, oh my God, there was just something about
Tell,
releasing.
tell everybody who Joe is.
Oh, Joe Clasell, he was one of the DJs along with Francois K and Danny Crivet. And, I had never seen anybody, three DJs in a booth playing music, one record at a time. That was new for me, when they started playing Body and Soul parties. One day, Joe playing a record by Boy Jarvis. He had just did a remix called Odo Oja. I think I sent you that a while back ago, right?
Yep.
And something strange happened where I was on the dance floor and all of a sudden, like I had like this outer body experience through the music. And I was like going on this, it was crazy. It was really crazy. I was going along and Joe was up there playing and I felt like he was telling me, come along with me, like while he was playing it. And I was like in a trance, so to speak. And I think the record's finished, right? And I'm hyperventilating on the dance floor. Somebody takes me off the dance floor. And I'm like catching like a freaking anxiety attack. I was like, oh my God, what happened? And he, he saluted and it was that's for you, my sister. And I was like, hmm? Like I didn't get it. I didn't get it. Because again, I wasn't into my spirituality at the time. I wasn't into religion. I was just this girl that came from the sticks that needed to hear music to feed my spirit so that I could become healed. That's what was going on. So at Body and Soul, that's what started to happen to me, where I was just like absorbing the music and I would play my tambourine and I would just go off to like I don't know how to explain it, but it was something that was happening in my life that I guess I needed. It was like a cleansing. It was like a cleansing. I would hold people's hands and people would get spirit. I swear. It was crazy. It was something going crazy around me. I don't know how to explain it. But I remember this guy, Ronald Lloyd, and he was static. And I was like, oh shit, what the hell? What the hell is going on now? Yeah. I was touching people. As I was healing, I don't know, giving what energy. I don't know what was going on. Anyway, Joe started that shit, right? I don't know what he did. But so lo and behold, years fast forward, right? I started, I was researching what's going on in my life. I'm gonna look into, the Yoruba religion because something was happening. Joe, for Christmas, I'll never forget it. That's funny because I got it. I had it in my hand the other day. Where is it? For some reason, Joe, I'm gonna get it. Give me 1 second because it's right there. I gotta give it to you.
Yeah.
This is so weird because I'm telling you, I saw it this morning and I was like, oh shit. I got so much food, stuff that I collect, CDs and stuff. I have plenty of pictures. There it goes. And I found this morning. Now,
Wow.
is that crazy?
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
He gave it to me.
Wow.
He had given to me as a Christmas gift, or and again, I don't know. I don't know. I ain't know nothing about Santeria. I ain't know nothing. We never practiced it in my family. I found out later on, my grandmother. But that was later on. She was never crowned, but she believed. My aunts, they believe. My mother, mm-mm. My mother didn't, you know, dibble dabble, nothing. She had no knowledge. Um, so when this happened, I several years later, I decided to I started researching and I was connecting with the religion because I noticed that it was changing music, was changing drums. The drums, it kind of gets me. It gets me to a point where it's like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. You have to experience it to understand it. But I end up doing Santo, and I am a priestess. I have, yeah, I end up doing it. And you have a mother and a father in Santo. And guess who's my mother? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah is the goddess of the cemetery. She speaks between the living and the dead. That's why I was able, for whatever reason, why, Boy Jarvis, and I believe Boy Jarvis might have dibbled and dabbled. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
I'm not at 100, but obviously, for him to create this type of music, this record, and then Joe remixing it, you know, that spoke to my spirit. It woke my spirit up. And that's why I went through so much. You have to, I always say, in order for anyone to help anybody in life, like say, some people they become priestess. Everybody has their own reason. I did it because I felt the energy was gonna be good energy for me. I didn't do it for nobody else. You got me? And if I believed that I had to go through the darkness in order to come back to the light, how could you advise people if you have not experienced certain things in life? That's why I'm very open. Why? Because I've been through depression. I've been through this. I've been through that. I don't know if you know, I survived cancer twice.
Really?
I'm a cancer survivor.
Wow.
Twice. I had stage 3
The s-
cancer.
spirits are looking over you and protecting you.
Yeah. And then you have, so that's why I'm a giver. I love giving. I love giving because I guess it's in my nature. That's why I always say I don't consider myself promoter. I consider myself a messenger. Why? Because I I know music was able to heal me. That's
Mm.
why I started the party Ashe. Ashe means divine power, blessing, and energy. What I learned was that has that music has that energy to do that to me. I can help heal others. That was the purpose of that party.
That party was amazing. Amazing. Amazing.
Really, you
Yeah.
did you remember? It was different, right?
very different, but it was for me. It was like Body and Soul. It was like a new version of Body and Soul. It was like very
Uh-huh.
spiritual. Like it was a great
Spiritual.
party. Yeah.
Yeah, it was spirit. It was more, yeah, and that was more the reason why I did that party, because I knew that there was other, just being in the club scene, and I can watch people and say, that person is releasing, that person needs releasing, that person, like I pick up on certain things. So
Mhm.
that's why I never went to the point where it was about, okay, let me go. Like I was never a Robbie. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? I'm not Robbie. I don't stand and give out flyers. I watch people. I
Mhm.
watch. I watch dancers because I wanted to bring something special into a space of
Mhm.
healing. That was the purpose of Ashe. It wasn't about, numbers and money, because believe me, we make none. After making, 4,000 on a men at work night, house music don't bring no money.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about
Yeah.
house music as a business. Let's talk about it. Compare and contrast the money you make in house music versus other parties.
There is, to me, I'm not, again, when I do something, I can't compare it to it, because I always do it for my own reason. I don't, money wise, I mean, we did the parties, we put more money into a party than what we got back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You put more money into a party, and people don't understand that.
Yeah.
People don't get that. I will have Ashe, um, we'll have like a $5 entrance,
I
and
remember
people
that.
calling. When I got pissed off when people would call to get on a freaking guest list for $5 freaking party. Yo, that's when I started getting. You laughing? I'm serious. I'm
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
And then want to put a couple of people on the guest list for a $5 entrance. Get there at a certain time, get in at $5. If not, what's $10? I would pay I'm gonna be honest, that's why I stopped all that. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't. I just couldn't. Because I felt the purpose in itself was like, huh? You're not getting it here. I'm thinking one way, and I'm like, are people that, inconsiderate to think this is a small party? This is not a big party. This is something different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poor person and say, "Oh, I need you to put me on a guest list," it wouldn't be my friends. That's all I gotta say.
Mhm.
It wouldn't be my friends. You know what I mean? Like, you really, you know what I mean? So, so there was always a certain, like, I didn't have to do this. You know what I mean? I had my businesses before. When you do something from the heart, it's a little different. It is. It's a little different. But when you find what happens in the community is everybody want to be somebody. You know that kind of shit. You remember that song? Everybody be somebody. That kind of thing. So, and I wasn't used to that. I because I'm one of those people that I like to create. I like to do what I have in my head, and I'm not good with people, certain people telling me, no, no, I want to do it this way, and so it wasn't good for me after a while. Put it that way. It wasn't good for me after a while. But house music, boat rides, and stuff like that, yeah, I had a ball.
Yeah.
Put
I
it
mean,
that.
because I want to give credit when credit is due. So,
Uh-huh.
from my mind, you are the first female soulful house music promoter. From my mind, you also one of the first people that did house music boat cruises. That I remember. I remember you had a
Hmm.
great lineup too. You had, I think you had Frankie Feliciano on the Seaport cruise, a few,
Yeah,
and a few other people.
Frankie. Well, there was okay. Luco Bear worked because he was part of
Mhm.
Circle Line and getting the proposal, everything. So we opened. What was so cool about it was we were like, I said, yeah, we got to do a good opening. Who should we open? We had David Mancuso open. He did the first opening
Mhm.
of that particular cruise line. Thanks to Joey Llanos, David, he was able to track David down, and and David ended up hanging out the whole cruise. He was on every boat ride, you name it. David Mancuso was on that boat ride. He loved it. He loved it. We had Frankie Feliciano. Oh, that's Louis Vega with
Yep,
Kenny Dope.
I remember that. Yep,
Masters at Work were together at the time. It
I
was
was.
the first time I actually promoted for Louis. That was the first time I promoted for Louis. And he was like, I like the way you work, I like the way you promote. And I was like, I just because I used to do messages from the heart, so
Mhm.
to speak, where I would write about the first time I saw Louis Vega was at Renegades. He was a young kid, and I told Joey that guy is gonna be somewhere. He's gonna be somebody when he gets up there. And look at him now. I'm so proud of him. I love him. I love Louis. Humble, humble, and you don't find that too often. You do not find that often. And I think that's where his quality, that's why he's where he's today, because of his humbleness. He treats everybody with respect. I'm sure he got another side business wise, which is, you have to. But the people that follow him, the people that support him, he treats with respect. And that is very important in order to get what he has today. I'm so proud of him. I really am. Good friend, very good friend. Um, but yeah, so Circle Line Cruises, Ariel played one time.
Mhm.
Ariel, um, was it Kenny Carpenter or he was supposed Andre Collins?
Mhm.
So Kenny Carpenter was supposed to play Andre Collins, and he wasn't able to, so we got Andre Collins, David DePino, Joey Llanos. Who else played? I'm thinking. I can't remember the rest of them. But it was a cruise from May 2001 to September 2001. And what happened was the cruise had to stop because of 9/11.
Mhm.
But we went out every Friday and every Saturday,
Mhm.
Friday and Saturdays. Let me tell you, I made some good money that year.
How much would you make on a boat cruise?
On a boat cruise, they pay me like well, you got to remember I was hired to do that.
Oh, okay.
The Circle Line, I did a proposal. We threw the DJs together, right? And I got a weekly check.
Got
Like,
it. Got it.
you
I
know what
got.
I'm saying?
Okay.
It wasn't
It wasn't your right. It was like
my
you. Yeah,
I
I got.
was hired to do it.
Got it.
I
Got
was
it.
a
Got it.
special event person. Yeah. So I put a proposal.
I think also you were the first person to bring the food on the boat too.
Yeah, we did food, but you know what? Food is very, very hard too. Because what happens is if somebody gets sick, the company doesn't want to be liable for it. So that's why they changed it where the Circle Line, right? The Circle Line now does food. They have outside caterers, so they don't let nobody just bring food anymore.
But you were
But
the
yeah,
first
we
one
used
to
to do food
and it was
fruits.
like good food, like arroz con pollo or candules, like it was good shit.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah,
really the food was
yeah.
amazing versus the
So we
hot
were
dog.
high. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I was the first one to do it. I know I was the first one to do City Country City.
Tell us what is city country city.
City Country City came. The idea came in that same year. I started out in the house community with events, not parties. I started out with events. So being that I lived up in the Poconos, right, and I used to party in New York, what I did was I got a resort, right, with cabins, and I sold a weekend package to the people in New York. And the weekend package, we drove them up. They stood in they stood in cabins, wood cabins. Inside the resort, they had a club that was inside of a barn. So nice dance floor. The first time I did it was with Joey Llanos and Antonio Acacio. That was City Country City 1. And I had a Friday night party, right? Actually, with Victor Rosado. Victor Rosado did the Friday, Joey and Antonio did the Saturday. And the Saturday party was called Overnight Sensation. So basically, people came out. If they didn't stay the weekend, they drove up to attend the party. So it was nice. But the funny part about it was, I found this resort. It's a gay owned resort. So I was like, what other better resort to do it? Because they're open. They're open to music. They're open. I figured I seen everything. So what you gonna surprise me? So we get up there, right? You go ready to laugh? We get up there, right? We go into the lobby and we look to the right and we see these men dressed in baby Jane outfits. There was yo, I swear, you should have seen this with the curly wigs on and the bones and the dress in the out in the tutu dresses, and then they had their mommies, taking care of them. I've never heard of that kind of fetish. It was crazy. I didn't know. They didn't tell me that these people were gonna be there. Here I am bringing my friends from New York. They probably thought I was crazy. So, so what does God do? Invite them to the party.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. Yeah. So City Country City, no, I got that idea from my uncle. Like I was telling you, Eddie Cologne. Because when we were younger, he I don't know if you ever heard of La Villas. Upstate, upstate, they will have bus rides from New York to upstate New York, like in Plattsburgh or something like that. And they will go to like do ranches and stuff like that. So that's where the idea of City Country City, I was like, maybe I can do that in the house community. Let me do that. Because they used to do those in salsa. A lot of salsa. Yeah. We used to do it when we were younger. Well, I was a kid. My mother used to always, take us everywhere, anything that was pertaining to my uncle and music. So yeah, that so City Country City came from that. So which is interesting. Look at mi casa now.
Exactly. I was thinking, basically, your blueprint. You set up the blueprint that yeah, a lot of people are doing right now.
Yeah. I remember coming up with the idea of female DJs playing together. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Me and my big ass mouth don't know how to be quiet. One day sets, the idea. And 2 weeks later, there was a party with female DJs.
And
I'm
you
one of those.
and you weren't a part of it.
Nope. Another female promoter did it. And I'll
You
never
weren't
forget it. And you know what I mean?
yeah,
But it's all good. You know why? Because again, I didn't need the money. I don't do it for money.
right. Right.
There's a difference. That's
Exactly.
why I feel that I'm not a promoter.
Right.
I think it's more than, you do, like I like helping people. I like when someone makes me feel good. That's why, with Louis, I do Louis, when Louis does something that I just like, it touches me, I'm going to put it out there because he deserves that. You know, this kid, who was it? Ray, the guy I send you, um, the
Yeah. Yeah.
mix
Yeah. Yeah.
on
Yeah. Yeah.
Sundays. I know Ray as a drummer of from Louis' party. He plays congas at Louis' parties at expansions. I never heard him I never heard him DJ. Until recently, being that was shut down, he was doing this show, and I just happened to go, and I was like, oh shit, this kid is back. To me, he's off the hook. He got tribal music. I love some tribal music. I like all kinds of music, but he plays like tribal, and it was like every Sunday I'm like tuned in, getting fed through what he's playing because there's so many talented people out there. And if you don't know the right people, or you could be doing this business for 20, 25 years and people won't even know you.
Yep.
Isn't that a shame if you think about it? So he's like one of the ones that I recently, you know what I'm saying? I don't mind helping. And like I told, like I get a lot of, can you manage me? And I go, nope, I don't want to manage nobody no more. I did my time. And when you do your time and you give your heart to someone, and things happen and it sticks with you. It kind of like, nah, I don't want to, you know what I mean? I'll help you. I'll help you, but I don't want to commit to managing my life around a person because of a person's talent or a person's career. Because I want to do it to love it and stay loving it, not doing it and then end up, you know what I'm saying? In
Hmm.
that position where you just like, I can't believe I wasted my years. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to regret
Right.
anything. I want to do it from the heart. That's it. That's it. And you want to pay me a couple of dollars? Sure. Hey, but I'll take it in a different way. You know what I mean? Like Louis. Louis always, Louis would be like, yeah, his and I was like, are you don't insult me. Because to me, I'm giving you my heart.
Hmm.
That's not something money can buy. Your friendship is what I admire. Your being, so the relationship is good. You know what I mean? So it's like that's like my brother, my little brother, and and we can talk, and that's important. That's important when you feel someone's music. You know, yeah.
What effect did 9/11 have on house music scene?
Mm, a lot of effect, especially because we were near vinyls at the time. Remember,
Mhm.
we were right there. Look at Rico. Rico was one of my buddies. At that time, he worked in that building. You know that he was affected by it, and I'll never forget the time coming back to Body and Soul and seeing Rico. I cried. I was like, Rico, because just like at the Loft, you develop a friendship with people, that you honestly have love for them. And Rico's like one of those for me, and it doesn't happen too often.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It doesn't happen too often, but it did affect it. It did affect it. especially in vinyls. I don't know. You don't know what was gonna happen. Just
Exactly.
like COVID. This is even worse. If you think about it,
Yeah.
look how many people it has affected.
Yeah.
DJs are not working, you know, getting money if they just DJ'd and not on a label. You know what I mean? It's affecting people. People going hungry. That's why, I'm telling you, I'm so happy. Like I always did it for the love versus, oh, this is gonna be my career. Thank God I never made it my career.
Yeah.
You know, that I have a job. I'm blessed to be able to do that. But now it's like I know someone, that he's not working. He got sick. You know, I'm trying to put his music out. And say, because he asked me, "Can you think I should, put like a cash?" I said, "Yeah, go put that cash app on there. People need to pay sometimes to show appreciation financially of what you're doing. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. If you have it, give it at this time.
Yeah.
As many times I went to a party and someone comped me, I'm giving you back now. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm looking at it.
Exactly.
Actually, I'm spending more money now than ever.
Mm.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to ask you about two more parties. What is Sound Factory Bar?
I personally didn't go there all the time. I didn't do that.
Hmm.
I might have went once or twice
Okay.
because I wasn't really partying like that at that time.
Hmm.
I had I had my son then.
Yeah.
That was that era. That's like where that was when Louis and Barbara did, right? Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't partying around that time.
What is 718 Sessions?
Oh, 708 sessions. I used to have a good time there. Um, when it first started, was the best. I know you were there. When it first started, it was like real, like I loved it. I loved it. Danny, Danny plays. He still does. He still does play. You know, um, but 718 sessions started around Ashe time too,
Yeah.
because I remember they were like, right. Oh, believe me, I remember. Seeing flyers at my party. How could you forget something like that? But anyway, I ain't gonna be shady. But yeah, but I enjoyed the party. I enjoy, all you gotta do is give me some good music and I'm gonna dance. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna have a good time. And the people around you, make. But what happened to me when it first started, it was 50-50. You have all kinds of people. But and then I don't know, where did they move? They moved where? Because I stopped going to 718 sessions at one time. Well, when I lived over here. So I had stopped, but I had a good time at 718. I did. I had a good time. Danny played some good music. Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to the 19-year-old promoter that's starting today, the younger version of yourself, if they're starting from scratch and they say they love house music and they want to start doing parties? What advice would you give them?
Well, I truly believe, well, always keep your day job. That's number one.
Why?
Because you need to have financial, you know, You have a responsibility. You need to pay for your apartment, your mortgage, keep food on the table, your lights need to stay on. This is the kind of business that is not going to be able to provide that for you. It's very rare that people could do that on this house music side of business. You got you got to remember there's different house music. The one that we're into, we're more soulful kind of. We're not that techno type of thing, and their parties are elevated more than our parties. So money wise, you got to keep your day job. You have to keep your day job. That's my number one. When you do things, you got to, me personally, do it from the heart. You got to love what you do, because if you don't love what you do, then it's not going to shine in to the people that are going to follow you. You know, I get a lot of people that are more spiritual kind of beings, even on my Facebook today, and I'm not a promoter. But those are the people that kind of come my way where they like, you know, they'll start talking to me. They like, I guess everybody has their own way of looking at things as far as business is concerned.
Hmm.
You know, again, I didn't do house music as a business, me
Right.
personally.
Right.
So it's a little different for me. Let me see. Well, but people, promoters, to be honest with you, I think what happened is when everybody started going like this, splitting. Old school promotion, we would check to see who's doing what on these days. We will work together. They don't work together no more. That's what screwed us up. Nobody want to work together. This one has Sundays. This one has Sundays. This one has Saturdays. This one has that. If you ever notice, nowadays, events like, say, Martin Luther King, there be like three parties, 3 or 4 parties, all of the best parties on one day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't get to all those parties.
Mm-mm.
We're gonna miss. Nobody want to work. Nobody works together.
Nope.
Back then, we used to work together. I'd be like, oh, 718 is having this. Okay, we're gonna have ours on this day. Oh, this one is having this. We would check calendars to make sure that, because there's enough for everybody. You know what I mean? If you work together. And then everybody got cliquish. You know
Explain
the
that.
fact?
Explain that.
Like, I don't like this one or that promoter. Oh, so I'm not gonna go to that party. And then the friends wouldn't go because that one wouldn't go. And it just started, it wasn't about the music anymore. It's about the people. And and Victor always said this to me, when you make yourself bigger than the music, that's when it loses. And it's true. I understand what he means by that. Because what happens is everybody loses. We don't get the opportunity to listen to Danny Krivit because this one is playing. Um I had to do, and mind you, I'm old, okay? I had to do Joey Llanos and Doug, right? Sherman. They did Seven Heaven. Louis, which is, my favorite party to go to because I enjoy it, was playing the same day. But my loyalty, right? I love I love my Joey, you know. I know they're gonna play garage and house class, garage and loft music. I wanna be there too. So I have to split myself where I'm like, okay, 1 o'clock, okay, I gotta cut out here. I'm gonna go to the next stuff. I ain't young like that no more. I can't do that shit. It's hard. It's hard. So I think Well, I don't think it's gonna ever happen though.
Mhm.
I understand in Japan they work together.
Mhm.
The reason why Japan has those big parties and everybody benefits is because all the promoters work together. Here, nobody works together.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you're gonna have little parties with 50 people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're not gonna ever get that, unless it's a Louis or it's a Danny or it's a Morales. There's only how many can you count them?
What is the Winter Music Conference?
Oh, that's something that we used to go to back in the days. I used to go to promote Ashe and what when I was working in in the business. Um I never really I enjoyed the conference when I was being a dancer more versus doing the industry thing because I have fun. You know, when you go out there and you're there and you're promoting a party or something like that, it's never fun. It's just too much work. But merchandise is always good to sell. That's the only time you like really hit the merchandise. That's when you make your money. But the conference, it was cool. But what I didn't understand about the conference is there's so many DJs, right? That say in New York, you have the opportunity to see these DJs in New York. When you get out to the conference, you go to the same DJs instead of experience other DJs. That didn't never made sense to me. Is it me, right?
I felt the same way. The whole point of the conference is to see people that you never get to see.
Right, right. That just didn't make any sense to me. And I would be like, but he in New York, you can go check him out at any time. I just couldn't, yeah. I mean, you're gonna support the person, of course, but I don't know. It was kind of weird. It was kind of strange, to see that. Um, what was funny about I always found hilarious about the conference was being that I was a manager, right? I would network and while I was there, give out business cards, exchange business cards. We'll talk about this, talk about that, doing party, everybody's talking a good game. Then I would come home, right? Wait a couple of days and take out my business card and start hitting those cards, right? Hey, hi, my name is Kat. I met you at the conference. So let me know. You were telling me you have a party. I want, and you start talking about bookings, right? Nobody got shit going on. It would be funny. It would be hilarious because like everybody talked a good game while you were there. When you would do the follow up, then you find out who is who. And a lot of them would just talk a good game. So I don't know. Maybe I was just hanging out with the wrong people.
That was my same experience too.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people will talk a lot of shit. Yeah, yeah, let's collaborate. I want you to help me promote this. I want to advertise on Bounce FM. I want to hire you to photograph. I'm like, cool. And I come back
Right.
and follow them and they all just talking shit.
So okay, so
Yeah.
there we go.
Same
You
shit happened to me. Yeah. I used to get all excited. I was like, oh, these people about business and everything. And then I follow
right.
up and they're like, they just hype men. There's nothing behind it. It's empty.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was like everybody just wanted to be again that record. That's my favorite record. Everybody be somebody. you know,
Yeah.
and that's basically, unless again, the same five people, that represent us. Well then again, get down from there. Get down from there. This damn cat. I got my son's cat.
Mhm.
And he jumping up on my thing. Get down from there. Down. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, but it was weird. It was weird. And I was like, you know what? I'm not spending this kind of money to go out to a place where I'm going to spend all this money and make nothing in return. I just found it to be me person. I said, if I'm gonna go to enjoy myself
Yeah.
versus going out there to do something and thinking that you're gonna make money out of it. But I did. I mean, I made a cut. I mean, I made money. I put it this way: if you can make your hotel reservation, your hotel and your flight, at least get that money back. You know what I mean? Then it's worth it.
Yeah.
Then it's worth it. But I haven't did that in years. I can't do it because of my, I got both my knees replaced like 10 years ago.
Okay.
I got bionic knees.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, chemo left my feet numb. I have that's wrong. So when I go out dancing, I feel like it's on fire, so that's not enjoyable. So that's why, conference and stuff, I wouldn't even bother anymore. That's not, get down, puppy. So yeah.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you want to talk about?
I only gave you my life story, dude.
No, thank you so much. This was fantastic. I love the history. I love you opening up and sharing your stories. I see you as a pioneer in our space. Keep the
Aw.
music alive. We appreciate you.
All right, sweetheart.
All
Nice
right, thank you
spending
so
that
much.
nice spending the afternoon with you.
You too. Enjoy your weekend.
You
Take
too. Many
care.
blessings.
You too. All right.
Okay. Bye
Bye bye.
bye.